Okay. I'm my background that is occupational therapy. My bachelor degree is from the occupational therapy in the National Cheng Kung University, Taiwan. And then I studied my master also in occupational therapy and PhD in the Institute of Allied Health Sciences. And then after that, I've been a postdoctoral personnel in the public health. And later on, I went to the Hong Kong, being an assistant professor in the rehabilitation sciences in the Polytechnic University. And after that, I back to National Cheng Kung University in my home institute, that is the Institute of Allied Health Sciences, to be the associate professor and then promoted to be the full professor one years ago. And my study basically is focused on the mental health, that is psychosocial health. And currently, I especially focus on stigma and also the behavioral addictions. Yes, and also quality of life. Yes. Okay. Basically, as a young starter, a junior academy, we want to to experience many different aspects. So that's why at the beginning of my research, I don't reject any opportunity. And for the young scholars, they need to exposed to the to the world. So that is why at the beginning, my study, uh, research interests cover quite a lot. But later on, I think we need to have our personal path. So that is from these different aspects of research topics, I found that some topics I'm more interested in. So I put more focus on these research. And that especially when we get into the institutions, that is, we cannot have a lot of fundings to support all the research interests. So we need to find something that we are really interested in and to work on them. So that's why I especially focus on the mental health, stigma, and the psychometrics. Okay. I would say that is based on my research interest. So I think that the internet addiction will be an area for the future studies. The reason is that we know that internet becomes very popular, and especially after the COVID-19, many many works have been transferred into the online virtual things. So that says people get more familiar with and try to advance the online materials. For example, like uh, during that time, many students they are allowed to use the internet to learn from the schools. They may not need to go to school, but learn from the internet. So that means more and more people will get involved and get exposed to the internet. And so what we were worrying is that when we expose too much of the internet, um, people may depend on the internet. And and the evidence also shows that use too much of internet may cause some mental health problems for some people. So that is one thing we think that we need to focus on, how to use the internet appropriately, how to healthy use the internet. And we also know like the men in China and also the Australia, they start to ban the internet use for some certain people, like for children. In mainland China, they have the game restriction policy. So in a summer vacation or winter vacation, they cannot get on the gaming. And also for Australia, they try to ban the adolescents to use the social media. Yes, and there was there's a recent event that I remember, and a lesson in the United States through the TikTok. No, not TikTok. I think it's Meta. That the social media use, jeopardize their mental health. So I think this is an increasing concern in the realm. So I think that will be one part we may want to focus on. Okay, in my opinion, I think that the AI tools can be helpful, but they also could be harmful. So it will goes back to how the users use them. So currently, I think that currently some AI still provides some inaccurate information or inaccurate, algorithm to the users. So that is the risky point. If the users are not really an expert or not having good knowledge in this area, they may misuse the AI. That is my concern. But of course, AI can be helpful if they are used properly by the experienced users. What I mean is that if there's like clinical psychologist who is well known for all the behavioral therapy techniques, all the psychological knowledge, and so when the clinical psychologist use these AI tools, he or she can identify whether the AI tools are on the right track. Okay, so if the AI tools are on the right track, actually it can help reduce a lot of workload for the therapist, for the psychologist. But in contrast, if we don't care about what AI given to the uh, patients or some people coming for help, then that may be cause some kind of disasters. Like they may have some kind of what I imagine is that conspiracy. Okay, when the people use these kind of AI tools, then maybe if some people they try to want to control people, they make some algorithm inject into the AI pools, so they can wash brain the people, something like that. So that's what we're worrying about. Okay. I think that the stigma issue uh, is not just happen after the post-pandemic era. Actually, we fight for the stigma issue for a long time. Uh, and I think the major issue is about people's knowledge and people's cognition toward these kind of illnesses. So my earlier studies focused on people with mental illnesses. And at that time, people do not think that people with mental illnesses should deserve a normal life. So that is a kind of misbelief. But I think after several decades of years that people fighting for the right for this stigmatized population, people start to knowing something about it. But still, some people are not aware of this, and some people still, when they were born in the ancient time, so they still have their stereotypes. So I think it's a continuous efforts that we need to do, not just before pandemic or post pandemic. Uh, and what we should do, I think, is to deliver the correct knowledge. So for the journals like BP, what we can do is that if we found that any papers, they use some inadequate descriptions on these people, like they say they are schizophrenic patients, okay, or like they say that they are harmful, something like that. If they have this kind of inadequate descriptions towards these people, then we need to ask them to change the languages. I think that is what we need to do. Yes. Okay, thank you. How I first known about BP, I have to say it's because your editorial office contact me. So I remember that you sent me an email and saying that you would like me to join as the editorial board. So of course, after I received the email, I go to check about your website and I go to check about your journal, and also in the databases, something like that. And my impression about BP is that it seems that you try to facilitate the knowledge transfer. That is, you want to promote the health psychology, and you are eager in not only in English, but you try in different languages. That's my perspective. That's my observation. And also, after I joined as the editorial board, I found that your editorial office is quite effective. That is, you have sent me the information about the paper submission and also about the progress, how you find the reviewers and what's the responses from the reviewers. And whenever I have some queries, your responses to me, your replies to me are always very fast. So that is my appreciation. And I think the BP attracts me that in its effective way. And also, the BP also holds a high standard in the publication, standard. That is, you are not easily to let every paper to be accepted. You follow the rules. Like I can see that you send out for 4 reviewers or 3 reviewers. That is quite rigorous. Yes. I think that this question, if it in short, I would say find a good supervisors, find a good supervisor, or find a good mentor that who can, teach you all the details in paper writing. Being a reviewer or being an editor, I often receive some papers. They are not written in good English, and they are not written in a style that follows the academic paper. For example, I know in some local languages, they use the comma as the decimal point. But in the, international academic journals, we use the period as the decimal point. So if the authors, they cannot know these kind of little details, when they they submit the paper and the editors or the reviewers see this, they will feel, the person is not in the academia field. The person is not, familiar with how the academia journals look like. So, in short, is to find a experienced supervisor or mentor. Apart from that, I think another key point is that they need to find really something on the literature gap. But literature gap is subjective, I have to say. So, if the young scholars, they want to make it short, again, find a supervisor, because the supervisor has more experience in the field and they know what is lacking in the field. Yes. So I think that's my answer to this question. Okay. The aspects, I think the scope will be the first thing that I would like to check. Okay. So if the scope fits with the BP, and then the second thing, I will look into the style. That is, if the manuscript written is hard to understand, I cannot understand what the manuscript is talking about, then I may reject it, because I think the essential issue is that you need to let the readers know what you are talking about. And then after that, I will go to see the research originality, methodology, rigor. These 2 parts are on the equal weight. Yes, basically, that is my procedure in the evaluation. I think that if the BP can have some kind of spatial issues that may help to, increase its, how should I say, exposure to the potential authors. But that takes effort, I'll say, because spatial issues, we need to find the guest editors. And take me as an example. I'm not that keen to be a guest editor, because there are too many editorial work for me now. So the guest editors, we may find some people who are not that busy and who wants to promote their record, but they are not someone who are nobodies, because the guest editor, if it's nobody, then no one want to contribute. But if someone who is very busy and have so many editorial work, they may not want to, engage in these activities. So I think it's a challenge to find appropriate guest editors. And international collaboration is always a good point because, if we have international authors or international editors, then the journal will get known for different countries. So that is a good point to, have the international collaboration. By the way, I just found that I forgot to answer one previous question. That is my evaluation on BP's current performance in maintaining fair and transparent peer review process. I think that the BP did quite a good job here because I think that BP is not just, how should I say, just based on the editorial board's opinions to accept a paper. They try to send out the reviewers and then to obtain as many comments as possible for the academic editors to evaluate the paper. So I really appreciate these practices because I can, first is I can lessen my work job. I don't need to take too much time to find the reviewers and then to evaluate all their comments one by one. But I can have a summarized things. And then I base on the summarized things to put in my insights and then further to make decision. So I think the transparent issue in the review process is quite good.